All right, time for a little story. Once upon a time, in a mysterious maze, there lived two little people and two little mice, and they came upon Cheese Station C. So, Cheese Station C was overflowing with, what's your favorite cheese? Anybody? Yeah, anything you can imagine, it was there. It was flowing and it was everywhere, and it's basically like a mountain, and you could just slide down it. So, it was like a cheese haven for these two mice and these two little people. All right, so the two mice, Sniff and Scurry, enjoyed the cheese and gobbled it up, while the two men, Hem and Haw, just stuffed their little faces as much as possible. Like, they went at it like a bulldozer, and they loved it. They had a feast for kings every single day for months. And one day, they walked into this cheese station, and they found that there was no more cheese left. Angry and annoyed, Hem asks the most important question: who moved my cheese? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The story you just heard is from Spencer Johnson's Who Moved My Cheese? So, talking about our four characters, they entered this cheese station. They thought they had their big break. They thought they didn't have to worry about scrounging for food anymore. They thought that this place was their haven. They thought this was their fairy tale ending. So they went at it, and they didn't realize that the cheese had disappeared. They didn't realize what had happened. There's four kinds of change. The first change is that you don't know it's there. You don't know it's coming at you. It's gonna show up at your front doorstep one day in the morning, and you don't even know it was there. Another one is that one you go after. You're going after, you want to change, like Kostov. He changed from within. Another change is that you kind of didn't know it was coming, but you did. And the last kind of change, and the most important change, is the one that you had no clue about. You don't even know what's happening as it happens. So what is the same thing? What does this imply? It implies that change is inevitable. It is how you deal with it that really and truly matters. We have to realize that the only constant in this world is change. It happens every day, all the time, to everyone. But what happens when you don't change? What happens when you ignore it? It's right there. Now, most of us know the theory, Darwin's theory of evolution, survival of the fittest. He states that you need to change yourself physically. You need to be able to adapt to your environment by changing your physical characteristics. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying, and the story is saying, that you need to change your mental processes in order to survive in this ever-changing world. You need to understand that there is no more, we didn't need a tail anymore, that's why we have the tailbone, but we don't use it. We need to realize that we need to change our mental processes. It is now a necessary adaptation for us. Humans are resistant to change. This is a basic principle, and you don't even have to be a psych student to know this. We are scared of change. We are scared of the unfamiliarity. We are comfortable with it. We don't want to give up this comfort that we have, this cheese paradise that we have in order to go looking for new cheese. We want to keep here in Station C. We don't want to change. We don't want to. And why is that? Why do we not want to change? It's because we're scared. Deep down, inside, we're scared. We don't even want to get up out of our bed to go check our laptop, even though we know there's an email up there, because guess what? We're too lazy. We don't want to change our position. No, it's too comfortable. So, using the story that Spencer Johnson gives us, through his story and through his character, Ha, he asked a very, very important question. What would you do if you weren't scared? What would you do if you weren't scared to change? If you weren't scared of the unknown, what would you do? So just think about that for a couple of seconds. Think about a scary situation in your life. Something changed. For example, in our school the past month, something happened. 2 teachers got laid off, and honestly, it shouldn't have happened, but it did. It was inevitable. It happened. So many students got their classes and courses and friends displaced. You weren't with your friends anymore for first period. Now, you could have changed. You could say, oh, okay, well, I kind of have to deal with it. But what if you didn't change? What if you were scared of the unknown? You were thrust into a new course a little bit through the school year. What would you do? Now, a lot of us haven't experienced this personally, but I, for one, can say that I was terrified. I mean, there was a class that I definitely did not want to lose, and it was going to happen. But what did we do? We stood up, and we sent an email out, and we said to Ms. Horwath, and we said, Ms. Horwath, we really don't want to lose this class. It's an amazing class, so please help us out. And we weren't scared to go and take a stand. We stood up. And we got that teacher, and now I have him for first period every day. It was amazing to know that if I wasn't scared, I could change my world. So let's get back to the story. What does happen in the end? What happens in the end? Well, the 2 mice, Sniff and Scurry, they left the cheese station and they followed these 7 steps. First of all, change happens. They keep moving the cheese. It's never not going to happen. Second, anticipate the cheese. Well, in our story, they kind of smelled Sniff and Scurry. They smelled it and they ran because they knew that the cheese was getting old. So monitor the cheese. Know when it's getting old. 4, adapt to the change quickly. Don't take your time, because if you did, you might starve. I know it's going to be a little exaggerated, but in the case of our 4 furry friends, it really does happen. They could have starved and died. And finally, change. It's not something that's new to us, as we all know that change is inevitable. Enjoy the change. It's going to keep happening, guys. It's not something that's new. So, Ha starves, and he goes home from the cheese station C, and he's, oh my God, I'm so hungry, I don't have any cheese anymore. I used to eat like tons, I used to eat like a pig, and now I don't have any more cheese. So what happens? He goes home and he starves along with him, and finally, he does come back the very next day to find that it's not a part of his imagination. It's not part of his world anymore, his precious cheese. So he begs him to come with him in search of new cheese, and, well, he doesn't find it. He doesn't find that he wants to leave, but because he's scared. So he does, and he leaves because he's starving. And he finds cheese station N, and finally, he's not starving anymore. He has an abundant amount of cheese. It's twice the size of cheese station C. So what happens to him? He dies. Just kidding, guys. He doesn't die. He does starve for a very, very long time without any food, no cheese. He doesn't have any of his precious Gouda. So he comes out of his little shell and he finds his food. And so what would you do if you were one of these 4 characters and you were in cheese station N and there was no more cheese left? Would you be Sniff and Scurry? Would you be Ha and starve just for a day? Or would you be Hem and starve for a while before you realize that change is necessary? It is not something that we can avoid. So, before I leave, I just want to say one thing. Change. Just do it.